scene, Jerusalem. It's late. Not dangerous late, just decisions late. The kind of late where your own thoughts get really loud. Judas is sitting by himself. He's not being dramatic. He's not crying. He's just quiet, and that detail is really important. Because betrayal doesn't usually start with a big, explosive moment of anger. It often starts with a quiet disappointment that just doesn't know where to go. He's watching Jesus from across the room. It's the same voice he's always known, the same calm energy, the same everything's going to be fine vibe that he's always had. And Judas is sitting there thinking, fine for who? Exactly. Because he signed up for something else. He signed up for momentum, for action, for a kind of change that looked like power. The kind of change you can see and measure, but what he got instead was patience. And patience can feel a lot like standing still, especially when you're broke, when you're tired, and when you're surrounded by people who still believe with this unwavering, almost naive faith. Think about the others. Peter is loud and impulsive. John is fiercely loyal. The rest of them are hopeful in that reckless way that seems to ignore the hard realities of the world. But Judas is the one who keeps the money. He's the treasurer, which means Judas is the one who keeps score. And right now, the math isn't adding up. He looks at their situation. There's no palace. There's no political takeover. There isn't a single big public win that he can point to. All he sees are parables and crowds and vibes. And vibes don't pay the bills. Vibes don't put food on the table. For someone practical, for someone who deals in logistics and numbers, this is frustrating. He's looking for a return on his investment, and he's coming up empty. So, when an opportunity comes knocking, it doesn't arrive with a bang. It doesn't knock loudly. It whispers. It starts with a quiet meeting, soft voices, carefully chosen words. They don't say, betray him. The language is much softer, much more clinical. It's more like, hand him over. It sounds cleaner. Less personal. It's a logistical arrangement. And the price, 30 pieces of silver. Now, this wasn't life-changing money. It wasn't get-rich money. It was just enough. It was the kind of money that says, this isn't worth much to us, but it's something. It's a start. It's transaction money. And for a man who is tired of living on faith and good feelings, a transaction feels solid. It feels real. Judas tells himself this is a strategy. It's a form of leverage. He's just giving things a little push. He rationalizes it. He thinks if Jesus really is who he says he is, he'll get out of it. He'll perform a miracle. He'll prove everyone wrong, and then things will finally get moving. That's the lie. That's the dangerous lie he tells himself to make the decision okay. He convinces himself that he's not ending the story. He's just forcing the next chapter to begin. He believes he's creating a scenario where Jesus will be forced to show his true power, and then everyone will finally see. Now, cut to the garden. The night air is heavy. There's this thick, uncomfortable silence. Everyone is pretending this is just another late-night walk, just another quiet moment of prayer. But the tension is undeniable. Judas approaches Jesus. There's no big speech. There's no villain monologue where he explains his motivations. It's much simpler and much more chilling. It's just a greeting that lands wrong. A kiss that lingers just half a second too long. And in that one tiny, awkward moment, everything collapses inward. The world seems to shrink down to that single, irreversible action. And Jesus doesn't resist. He doesn't shout. He doesn't even look surprised. And somehow, that hurts more than any accusation would. His calm acceptance is a mirror, and in it, Judas sees his own rationalizations for what they really are. Because now Judas realizes this wasn't a power move. This wasn't a strategic push. This was a transaction, and he's already been paid. The deal is done. There are no take-backs. The arrest happens fast. There are torches. There's movement. There's noise. But in the middle of all that chaos, Judas is frozen. Because he's learning something profound in that moment. Regret doesn't scream. It sinks. It's a cold, heavy weight that settles deep inside you. Later, that money feels so much heavier in his hands. It doesn't feel cursed, not in a supernatural way. It just feels useless. It's 30 pieces of meaninglessness. He tries to give it back. He goes to the authorities and says, "I've made a mistake. Take it back," but they don't want it. Of course they don't, because systems love deals, but they hate accountability. The transaction is complete. His part of the bargain is over. Judas walks away. No one chases him. No one stops him. He is just alone with a decision that can't be refunded. He's left with the full weight of what he's done, with no way to undo it. And that's the real thing about cashing out early. That's the tragedy of choosing a small, immediate reward over a long-term, uncertain hope. You don't lose everything all at once. You lose it in echoes. First, you lose the trust. Then you lose the feeling of belonging. And finally, you lose the version of yourself that still believed you were on the right side of the story. And that was the friend who cashed out. Thanks for watching. If this story gave you something to think about, consider subscribing for more. See you next time.